Good morning, good morning. Just wait for a few more people to join. Let me know you can hear me as always in the chat, please. Morning, Marek. Morning, Asa. Morning, Mindful Matters. Thank you for joining me again. Huge sell-off this morning. Violent sell-off this morning. All down to news coming out of the Middle East. We've talked about it before, the importance of using hard stops because you are at the mercy of news at all time. Good morning, Jerry. Good morning, Radar. Good morning, Suri. Good morning, John. Morning, Array. So what do we have this morning? We have news that Israel is going to bomb Lebanon's capital, Beirut. We don't know if they've already done it. It's unclear if they've already done it or it's a plan to do it. On top of that, Iran have come out, White House intelligence saying they have intelligence that Iran is going to start using ballistic missiles. So the market went risk off very quickly. Okay, we did have some news on Apple and stuff like that with a lawsuit, but this is war-driven news, which is why it's a violent news without any pops. Very risk off. First time here. Well, welcome, Suri. Hopefully you stay around for a little bit. So as you can see here on an hourly chart, we had a huge sell-off. This is a very large hourly candle. PMI came in pretty much flat as expected. We have news in 2 minutes for jolts, which will affect possible rate cuts in the futures, all right, especially given what Powell said yesterday. They're looking at the jobs numbers. I went over that yesterday at the beginning of stream. Jobs numbers are now what's important. The only things that are left that are sticky are jobs numbers and housing. So that's what they're looking at. What am I considering today? Well, we were looking for potentially a drive back down into yesterday's bounce area where we found buys, but we've sold straight through that. So now we're approaching this weekly low that we talked about yesterday. This double bottom right here, 950, looks like a very easy draw on liquidity. ES is yet to take out the previous day low, and NQ has already taken it. All right, NQ has taken out that previous day low, that green line, that's previous day low. It came and washed it. So I would like to stay short bias today all the time that we are remaining in a sell. This is a very strong trend. So what I'm thinking about is where might the market want to bounce towards. So are we going to have continuation of a flag for downside potentially in this level here? If we had a drop, base drop, that would make sense inside of the flow zones. Was it going to do an anchored view up off that sell point at the top? Because that was violent. So let's put an anchored view up in, see what we get. Right, so right in the middle of those flow zones as well. So good thesis for more downside pressure. When could a long set up? But we're always looking for the same patterns, right? Very clearly, the long will be somewhere here. If it starts to taper and get above this, we get that inverse head and shoulders, maybe it prices back to the midpoint, comes and fills some of that imbalance. But for now, the main move, the easier move is downside, right? You're going to see major downside pressure today all the time that war news continues. So you need to be careful. We're getting very thin here. Okay, the news is out. That'd be why. So just going to let this settle down now. Jolts just came out. Let's have a look what that number came in at. Morning, Jeff. Morning, Glenn. Morning, Ryan. Okay, so if you're a newer trader today, please size down, all right? You have massive volatility. Have a look at the VIX. We were talking about the VIX being in the 15s, where it's a good buy opportunity on the market, and 15s and below. Yesterday, we started moving to 17s. Today, we almost hit 20, right? So the VIX is really starting to be aggressive upside. That is a good sign of a risk-off environment where you're going to have very big ranges. So just looking for this Jolts number. Jolts came in at 8.4 million. The forecast was 7.69. Construction as well came in just under. Manufacturing came in a little cooler. All right, so Jolts pretty good there for the market. But the main news here this morning is the war news out of the Middle East. Okay, that is the main news moving the market this morning. We have high possibility of increased likelihood of a bigger war taking place now, rather than what Israel describes as smaller attacks or targeted attacks, which I think we can all agree with are not very targeted, but this will change things. So Israel now coming out saying they're at high readiness for aerial threats from Iran. All right, talking about ballistic missiles. So that is why we have gone risk off. So continuation plays today, very simple. You're looking for all continuation plays for downside. The first target I would be looking at was that 950. All right, we have a double bottom here on the weekly, on an hourly chart. That looks very, very obvious that it might want to get taken. That's what I'm looking at right now for potential downside. I'm just going to let this settle out. Now we have that Newsweek candle. This might look small, but it's still pretty big. That's still almost 100 points, right? That's how big the range is today, that candle looks small. Lower wick of that was 20,000. Upper wick of it was 20,080. So an 80-point 1 minute candle there. So the range is big. Don't get drawn into the candles because you won't understand how big the range is. Make sure you're measuring them out. This range today is violent and big. We're still inside the initial balance, which is already 287 points big. And it is likely to extend. So size down today, guys. You do not need a lot of size today. Much better to size down. Morning, 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 everyone who's joining the chat. Thank you for joining again. Missed that short this morning. There weren't many opportunities to get in, right? Look how quickly this dumped straight down. Didn't offer much of a pullback here before getting into that previous day low. I am looking for lower prices, ideally. And I still think ES can come and take out that previous day low. We're actually rejecting yesterday where we got that little bump up. If we go to the higher time frame, these areas here where we found bids yesterday, those buyers are now stuck. I expect them to become sellers for lower prices. So that's what I'm looking for. Potential flag, potential retracement, something I can join with good risk. At the moment, the problem is if I'm going to play the bottom of this flag to the top of the flag, I've got to risk 80 points. And I'm only looking for a run into 19,950. So the RR is not ideal right now. So ideally we get some form of trap and we can tighten up the risk reward a little bit. That's what I'm looking for. Don't really want to be risking 80 points on a trade. Does that make sense to everyone? Anyone get that short? Were any of you short pre-market for this rollover? We had a sell signal there. And I was looking at it short just into this level, but once it washed without me, I couldn't chase it down. We talked about it in the room, the levels we were looking for. We were very clearly looking for that first move down into the blue box and then a potential bounce from there. And I said, if it fails, then we go deeper. Right, it's why you don't just play buys in areas. You wait for setups. We never got a setup to play a buy there. People probably tried it and got absolutely slammed. So the book's still pretty thin here, okay? So we have 100 orders at 20,010, another 110 orders at 19,900 to the upside. We have some sell orders sitting in there, but just over 100 orders at 75 and 125 orders at 20,080. All right, between that, very, very thin. Okay, the book has been thin this morning on that news. VIX is holding its gains at 19. All right, if VIX starts to flag and go, we're going to see massive downside pressure in the market. I've talked about this, that it felt like a big move down was coming over the last few weeks. Even if it's just to pick up buyers lower, we had all this consolidation and it's just trapped all the buyers up there based on war news and it's coming down. So think about this white line here. This is what I'm looking at, this double bottom on the H1. That's a previous week low. If we dig under that, we're going to come into some daily levels. So I can show you the daily levels here, maybe right here. Right, we're digging down into this daily block where we started to break out from. We can come all the way down to this 20-day, which is trending up. Doesn't have to happen today, but say by tomorrow, maybe that 20 days somewhere around 19,800. Maybe we have a couple more 100 points downside, and we do that mean reversion test to the 20-day. So remember, we go from lower Bollinger, 20-day, upper Bollinger, 5-day, 20-day is high probability here if we start to have heaviness in the market. So I'm always looking at that possible mean reversion target. Does that make sense to everyone? Is everyone following? ES looking very close here to taking out previous day low. This flag looks like it wants to play out. I'm just looking for some form of good risk reward here that I can get involved in. What I do not want is to get trapped here with 80-point risk and ES take previous day low and then snap back inside. But this looks good for continuation so far. Here's previous day low, tap on the ES, missed it by a tick. This is the danger right here. If ES takes it and trades back inside and you're taking this short for continuation, you're going to have to risk the top of this range, which is too far away for my appetite. 80 points is too far away for my appetite. There's previous day low taken now on ES. Not easy when the range is this big. Make sure you size down. So that 19,950 is a very, very obvious level for me that I think the market might want to draw towards. Beneath that, into the 800s. I'm going to move this blue box over on the higher time frame. So I'm looking to fade all pops all the time the market is staying in a sell structure. What I want to get very careful of, if we start to move sideways and we start to taper across, we want to be very careful, because if it traps too many shorts down here and we start to taper and taper, even if it's just a squeeze for people to get short, it can be a violent move up to then come down. So you've got to be very careful at the lows today. But we are very clearly in a sell. You should not be looking for longs today right now. Do not try and catch the bottom. Do not catch the knife on the market. It will punish you. Wait for clear bullish setups. If you're a bull, you need to wait for liquidity to be built. Wait for a clear setup. Wait for that change of character, and then you can think about a bullish move. Until then, just stay short with the market. All right, stay in sells. Market's heavy. Market is risk off. It is scared. Look at VIX now breaking out through 20. All right, you cannot be buying this market when the VIX is screaming to the upside the way it is. Have huge volatility. We're going to continue to sell this market all the time. VIX is doing this. So previous day low now taken on the ES, coming into 5,750. That would be a key psychological level. Just stay in sells. Stay in sells. Find a good area to get involved in. This flag now playing out. We're just going to look for the same thing over and over and over again today until it proves otherwise. Very close to that 950 now, 19,950. If you're in this, you should be taking profit into that area. It might snap that and you might get a big flush, so hold a runner, because there's definitely a lot of stops around that area. VIX now gapping up on an imbalance on this candle, okay? So VIX is really, really on a tear right now. We opened up the day at 1660. It's now at $20.37 to the upside. This can have a major, major run up. 5 points away now. There you go. There's the flush. Please take some profit into that. That's the 19,950 flush we talked about. So hold your runners now. All right, this market wants to get heavy. It can get very, very nasty. I'm looking at the daily now, coming into key levels on the daily from where we broke out on in August 28th, 29th, 30th, September 2nd and 3rd. Coming into those key levels, you've got to be locking in some profits here and holding runners. Beautiful trade that for that flag to the downside. We hit our main target there. Right, this was the target we talked about yesterday on stream. I said if it's going to get weak, that 950 becomes a very obvious level. This is really in a very strong sell here. You cannot be thinking about bullish moves. I cannot say that enough. I know some of you in chat love to be thinking about counter trend. Today is not a day to do that. You try and trade from the edges back inside today, you're going to get murdered. Just hold your runners if you're in this. All right, just hold the runners if you're in this. Move your stop break even or in the money. You should have locked some in. And just let it drip down. It might have a whole trend day down. You might get another 2, 3, 4, 500 points. You do not know right now. When we go risk off like this, it can keep coming down. I don't have another daily level really for a little bit of a while. This box here kind of ends into, let's call it 850. This is another 100 points down. And then beneath that into the 20-day, all the way down at 720. All right, so hold your runners for these moves downside. Remember, we're not looking for bullish moves until there's a very, very clear change of character. I'm expecting all drives up to fail. Even washes of these areas might fail, might be squeeze ups for people to get reshort down. That's what I'm thinking about in the market until it proves otherwise. Good for you, DiCaprio. I don't know how you've managed to make money on the long side today, but good for you. If you did, I don't see, from my setups, no long setups here, but maybe you trade differently. I know you have some very key stats that you play off. Is anyone still in this short, or did anyone catch some of this short for downside pressure? Everyone new joining, please do me a favor, hammer that like and subscribe button. Let's get these likes up, guys. Lots of you watching right now. Stream's getting bigger every single day. Yes, a lot of volatility today. You can see that in the VIX, right? VIX just tapped a high of 20.73. Nate, you got knocked out. Don't worry, buddy, it happens. Ryan, you got it, lovely. Out now, well, that's fine, mate. You got the trade. Your Wi-Fi was acting up, so you bounced. Well, that's probably a good decision. Too fast for you, Suri? Yeah, it was a very fast sell-off this morning. Very, very fast sell-off. We are in a risk-off environment. Mindful Matters just waiting. That's okay. VIX trading back down towards 20 now, all right? You need to see if it's going to get a bounce at 20. If not, it's going to come and test 1972 down to 1908. We're expecting just more downside pressure. This is just going to drip lower today until it has a reason to go up. We are in a risk-off environment. Hasn't even come and tested the flow zones or the anchored VWAP. We are starting to extend away from it. So I don't really want to short near the lows here. Would love a bounce for a re-add at some point. If today is too volatile for you, don't worry, just watch the price action, learn from the price action. You don't need to put your own capital at risk if today is too volatile for you and you feel uncomfortable. Right, this initial balance now is 350 points. Well, 15 minutes left. It might still extend this initial balance. It's a very, very large initial balance. You can quite clearly see those who were in the chat earlier, we were talking about that cup and handle move. Okay, this was the completion of the cup. Here was your handle. We are now in the extension. For those joining the chat, what I was looking for on the sell was right here. Let's draw this out for you. Here is your cup. Very simple. Your handle here, rejection, downside pressure. We are coming into some daily levels here. Right, so I don't love getting short, as everyone will know, into daily levels. So I need to see a retracement now for me to take something. The next level it might want to aim for, let's put this on, is around 19,860 odd, somewhere around there. We have an old wick, it might want to search for that liquidity, might be a little bit deeper. Let's pull this down. Yeah, around 60. Morning, Stephen. Thank you for joining. So those who are joining late, we were looking for this short breakdown right here, this flag breakdown into 950 was the first target right here. Okay, so now it's just consolidating. We have to see if it wants lower prices. There's no reason to be looking long right now. Don't convince yourself that this has gone down too much and you need to be buying it. Follow the momentum. Look for structure, look for ways to enter the market. Make sure you're zooming out on the high time frames. But we have just taken out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days range. We're coming into a 7th and 8th day range, which will be into that 850, 860. Make sure you're looking at the daily chart. The daily chart will help you. This is a big sell candle. It can still be a pullback, right? This can be the start of a right shoulder for that inverted head and shoulder. I know it seems ridiculous, but if you look at the daily, you will see what I mean. So I don't really want to short into areas of possible demand. Best short location on the day has gone. That doesn't mean I'm looking for a long, okay? It just means I'm going to sit on my hands until a new short setup opens for me. Caught the short off the bear flag, great work. Great work. Only thing that made that bear flag harder was that news candle, which is an 80-point candle. VIX still basing up there above 20, currently at 20.42. We are just in drip down mode here. All right, we're just in downward pressure mode here. This has actually become even more aggressive now in this sort of range. I'm not looking to long through this, just showing you where the pressure is on the market. Problem is, on like an M5 chart, you would need a back test of 19,999 to 20,045 for supply, where we've done drop base. So I can't really be thinking about a short in these levels right now. I need to wait for it to give a good drive up. All of Mag 7 other than Meta now red. So Meta, the last one hanging on. It was Meta and Google, now Google now red. Sam, a little late to the stream, don't worry. Plenty more day ahead. So gold approaching those highs again, trying to get up to 2,700 as the hedge continues into gold. Everything we talked about for the last 3 or 4 weeks starting to play out. The market trying to curl here. It might get some relief and a bounce here. All right, if too many shorts got stuck at the lows, we might get some retracement up here, some relief, before I would assume more downside pressure. Unless we're going to get above all these areas, I'm going to assume all this drive up will be a squeeze for more downside pressure. But I'm not going to attack the drive up. I'm going to let it set up for me. Let it show me where sellers want to come back in, if they want to come back in. This is why you cannot get short into higher time frame demand areas. Remember, on the higher time frame chart, you have this blue box. This is based on the daily and hourly chart. So it might want to reprice, come and test value area low, 20,055, somewhere around there potentially, before it goes back down. Market needs to build a new bear flag, basically. It needs to build upside to go lower. No smart money wants to short down here. On the weekly, it looks like we're going for the 21 EMA. Maybe, yeah. I mean, I'm watching the daily for a drive into the 20-day SMA. That's the mean reversion trade. That's the trade I'm looking for if we're going to start driving down on the daily chart. We talked about it. The chop between the 5-day, this blue line, and the 20-day, if we can find it, this purple line. All right, it loves to do this move while it's deciding what happens next. So a little bit of a squeeze back up here like we talked about. Probably starts to run hard through 75 here, back towards the upside where we found sellers. Then we have to see if sellers come back in the market or if they're now exhausted. Yes, mean reversion trade, exactly, Sam. Mean reversion trade. There's a big seller at 19,990, 110 contracts. Keeps reloading there, looking for fills. Expect him to get filled. Potentially a drive up. Let's think about this leg. Right into here. I'd like us to really come and test upside, maybe create a little trap. All right, maybe we get above this, do something like this, and then start to roll, and then I can think about a really good risk-reward short. That would be ideal. Market might not give it to me. Well, I'd like a further drive up. Maybe come and test this anchored view up off the high. Maybe we do a new anchored view up on the day off that newsprint. See where that gives us, which we're kind of at right now. So I'm looking for continuation lower. Ideally, I'd like this to squeeze up a bit further, but that seller at 19,990 is still there. Okay, keeps reloading, 109 contracts. Through that, we have room. The next block of sellers is right up at 20,050 to 20,075. There's about 400 contracts sat in 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks up there, which will take us sort of up here into where this previous day low was, the anchored view up, the deep pullback zone. Well, I'd love to see it move up there just in terms of risk reward. It offers a little bit more. So trying to be patient. We got that one nice trade for the bear flag down, trying to see if it's going to offer something else. I don't want to get short low of day. I really do not want to get short low of day. Because the low of day right now, if you're just joining the stream, is right in a higher time frame demand block. So as a rule, we don't get short in areas where we know demand has participated. It is very possible we come and take out this 860 odd area, and through that we can drive down further. If we look at that on a daily point of view, it makes sense, doesn't it? Right, this is where we had demand. These areas right here, old resistance became support, right? We broke through, back tested, held, drive up. This is the same area here. Resistance, 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 broke through. If it drives down through that, this is the 20-day, the purple line. So I'm looking at the higher time frame. Looking at the lower time frame, ask yourself, is there a reason to long? I don't see any bullish pattern here. Maybe it holds this W pattern on a 3-minute, but on every other time frame, it's looking like lower prices. So maybe we can get a squeeze up, which I'm not going to be taking long. I'm going to be looking for it to squeeze up to let me get short. But it's very, very weak, this market. VIX just came back down. I missed it into 1973 to 1950, and it soaked. The level we're talking about would need to hold. If you look at the VIX on a 10-minute chart, you will see that demand block that it made on the extension up. So we've come and retested that. Question now is, can it create a new high? If it creates a new high, quite simply, the market's going to continue to roll over. So far, flow zones, everything holding us down. Didn't get short in this. I was looking for a squeeze up a little bit further, but that 50% is all it managed. Any questions here? Anyone got any questions? Please tell me in chat. None of you have been trying to grab the longs off the bottom. Please get out that habit. Sam used to be that trader. Yeah, I think most people start as that trader. They try and counter trend. No trade for you, Suri? That's fine. No trade's fine. If you haven't got your setup, if it's not giving you what you want, just sit in your hands. That's good trading. That's process-based trading. So lower prices here. Continuation lower. We are in a major, major sell right now. Breaking through 19,900. Just checking the ES because I've not looked at that. Where might it want to come into this gap out? QQQ heading back into that old gap. What gap up day was this? From Wednesday the 18th to Thursday the 19th, we're trading back into that gap. So maybe QQQ wants to do a full gap fill, which would be 473. So I'm going to watch that. We are into that old gap range now on the QQQ. That's why I always leave in old gaps. Michael, you're finally done trying to catch the falling knife. That's great. That makes me happy. I always say, trying to guess tops, trying to catch the bottoms is a mug's game. It's a mug's game. I used to be an absolute mug, trying to do that all the time. It is a mug's game. All right, if whales are selling, don't try and hold their weight. Just join them. Join them. You want to get in their slipstream and join them to make some money. It's the best way to trade. Damn, bruh, who's selling? Everyone is selling this morning. Everyone, the market has gone risk off. Remember, we're in a new month. All right, I've talked about this a lot. There is recessionary pressures on the market. We've priced everything in. We have an election where no one is particularly happy with either candidate right now. All right, there's not consensus of a strong candidate that gives the calming notion to the economy that we like to have. So we have uncertainty there. We have uncertainty and escalation of war. We have $35 trillion of debt, incurring an extra $1 trillion of debt as America every 90 days. America cannot even make enough money to pay the interest on its debt each year. Let that sink in. Credit card debt within individuals like you and I is at all-time highs. Lots of people using credit cards to pay for their average life. Powell came out yesterday saying average savings is going up. That's absolute bullshit. Everyone knows that's a lie. So the market's risk off with everything right now. Until it proves otherwise, the market is risk off. We needed this sell, all right? Just look at the daily. We rotated all the way to that top Bollinger, and we just based and based and based without a big extension. Same on the ES. We've really failed to have conviction through 5,800. Right? Every single push that we had into 58.20 failed and came back downside. Failed breakouts. Remember when we talk about what are the best moves on the market is when one side is trapped. So you had buyers trapped between 5,800 and 58.20. We had failed breakouts. We trade back downside. They're forced to stop out. And then you have selling continuation. Remember, NQ has relative weakness. If you look at the dailies, the NQ has relative weakness. We're coming into that level now, all right, into that wick level, 860 odd. The initial balance has now been printed. So that initial balance is 384 points big. All right, so now it's going to sound weird, but you have to now think about potential initial balance play. So if we reclaim initial balance, we can start trading upside, and even a mean reversion on that initial balance will offer about 200 points. Okay, so wild day. Until that point, you stay sell. All the time we're underneath the IB, we are in a strong sell. Like I said, the QQQ has a gap fill potential all the way down to 473, currently trading at 478.50 or 60. It's a big aggressive move. So 850, now a buyer on the tape at 850, just under 100 lot. VIX looking like it wants to flag and go for upside. If it does that, we're going to get a further wash. So testing initial balance here. I'm just hands off. Quite happy to join trend downside today. This looks like your current selling channel, all right? That looks like your current selling channel. So reclaiming initial balance for now. Much rather take sales today. That's what I'm interested in. Stick with the trend. Had an old gap there on ES, which it tapped into. At 40, found a bounce. If we're going to move into buys, it's going to have to shift through all of this liquidity it's built on the buy side down. So again, possibly a squeeze up through here, through the IB low, come and retest towards 985, somewhere around there. There's a seller on the tape at 987, so that makes sense if he's still there. Meta still green on the day. Impressive. Impressive. Next time we have a bullish day in the market, Meta will be very strong. Showing relative strength on a day like this, being green is incredible. Don't know if they had news, but it's up 0.5%. Everything else down. Tesla down 4.7%, Nvidia 3.2%, Google down 0.5%, Amazon 1.3%, Microsoft 2.1%, and Apple 3.5%. But Meta is up 0.5%. That's very strong. Major relative strength. That would get my eye open as a potential buy when the market starts to turn. Because if it's holding relative strength in a market that's selling, that's a very good indication of a good stock there. So if you're an investor in Meta, that's a very good sign. So retap flow zones sitting right at that initial balance. We still have that liquidity for me at 860. We sort of came very close with this double bottom. We are in a demand pool, but what I'm looking at is this wick right here, this low print that we put in Friday the 20th. So here's your squeeze out bounce. Let's see if and when they attack it, or if they just let this one go upside a little bit further for a reprice. So this is already 40 points off the IB low. These are big candles when they get going. Remember, initial balance rules apply. It sounds ridiculous, but they do. They will still apply. So if this wants to trade back upside, VWAP is all the way up here. We have some anchored VWAPs. One here, let's call it at 50, and one up here in the deep pullback zone at 20,025. But the anchored VWAP is right the way, the normal VWAP, sorry, is right the way up here at 20,100. So if it does an initial balance back test of that VWAP, it's got a long way to go. It can do it. I've seen it do moves like this before. If enough shorts get trapped, it can do it. That would mean a major change in character to get all the way up there. Like I said, I would love to see some form of trap, some form of squeeze to take out a high and then roll over and give me a target for downside. VIX now 1950. So looking possible breakout here of this downtrend for an upside squeeze. We can think about a possible leg. So I'm still thinking about this going lower. It's all about how high can it go to create the next flag down, right? Maybe it comes all the way up here and we have to reposition this whole thing, which is fine. This is just a guess right now, this upward side trend, because I've got nothing to pin it off. Remember, this is your swing high, 985, so it's trading back into that swing high, into the flow zones. So this leg now coming into a golden pocket of this leg. So sellers need to come in here, otherwise they open the door for a squeeze up. Just off this lower time frame leg I'm talking about, not on the whole day. Squeeze through 90s, opens the door to 20,000. That opens the door for a back test of previous day low, anchored VWAPs, all those areas, all these areas up here. All right, but any move upside is counter trend. I'm not looking for longs today, not unless it proves itself. Much rather just wait for the short. It's going to be the easier move on the day. Wait for the drive up, squeeze up, let it exhaust out, then think about the short. All right, think about some of these areas up here. If it can come up to here where we got stuck before and put in a bearish pattern, maybe it will offer me good risk reward for the short. That's what I'm thinking about currently. The chat's very quiet today. Is everyone okay? I don't want to hear about anyone blowing up trying to catch the bottoms. Is everyone good in chat? You're very, very quiet today. Hopefully you're all just focused on making money or waiting for the move. Patiently waiting, sat on hands, green today, just listening. Yeah, that's all good. As long as everyone's good. Laser vision, Ryan. Yeah, good stuff. Everyone sounds like they are either green or sat on their hands, which is great. So ES now back testing previous day low. Suri has FOMO. Yeah, well, easy to have FOMO in these markets. Just make sure you're not actioning anything at all. Just acknowledge you've got some FOMO, but do nothing about it. Do the right thing, sit in your hands. So potential back test of that anchored VWAP off that Jolts number here. So this is the Jolts candle. We anchored VWAP that candle. We're coming into it now. Right, so everyone who is short on Jolts, this is where their average price is. Everyone who is short at the open, this is where their average price is. So here is your squeeze up. This is what we're looking for. Can we get a squeeze up and set some potential trap? VP debate at 5 p.m. Eastern today, likely to affect the market. at the time, Alex? Vice president debate. Yeah, probably 5 p.m. our time, Glenn, or is that market New York time? But yeah, it will. But that will be, you'll be into Asia session, but I'm sure that will affect the market. They'll be watching it, especially for any indication on how they might respond to the war today. That would be one of the big questions, or anything about tax cuts, investment in budgets, anything like that. What's setting my anchored view up? It's in the course, Ryan. It's in the course. It's also there's also a free video on YouTube. It's just that standard setting, and you just click to the point that you want to anchor it. So I'm anchored to the newsprint, and I'm anchored to the high before we sold. 8 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, so that will be into Asia. So they'll be watching for comments on that for sure. That can affect the market. Only if they say something unexpected. So here is your liquidity. All right, here is your liquidity right here. All right, so they're going to be looking for an upside move into here. I'm not looking for this upside. I'm looking to wait personally to see if we can offer a trap to get short back down. But if you're taking this long, then you need to respect into these targets, right? Could be a back test of, let's just call it 20,000 up to 20,080 into these flow zones, into the anchored view up. If it really starts to accelerate, I won't be looking for a short. Remember what we said about the initial balance. It can do these moves, and it's done it. So far we had a failed auction outside the initial balance, and we're trading back inside this huge initial balance range. The initial balance range is 384 points. Nice, Scott. Good work. So you got that short. You took a short overnight. I think Coop had one as well this morning, I believe, before the open at like 4 a.m. or something, I think I saw. So notice lower time frame is trying to go to bullish. That's because we're above the flow zones, so it might want to come and back test these areas up here. Meta still green, now up almost 8%. All right, so if the market starts to go bullish, you're going to see Meta really start to move, because it's shown amazing relative strength. So if I was going to be bullish on anything today, it would have been Meta. That's amazing, Scott. Really nice RR on that. Great work. So Scott's saying he made 700 points overnight, risking $187. So he made $700, sorry, risking 187. So I'd like to see a reprice here. Old H1 low is at 74. I wouldn't mind a back test into 20,020 odd, and to see if we resell that. If we start to get a squeeze above 80, I'd be very, very cautious. And the reason for that is on the higher time frame, if you look at the hourly, this move down was massive and it was thin. Look at this volume here. So you have good volume here. If we start to reclaim this, it can trigger a squeeze and it can reprice this very, very quickly. But I'd be looking for them to sell into where we have volume, around 20,020, 20,030, something like that. If it can squeeze up a little bit further and offer a sell in and around there, would be ideal. So maybe this channel is going to be more like this. You can get rid of this one now. So if they're going to squeeze, they're looking for bullish continuation. You can still take these if you're interested in it. It's just counter trend. It's not what I'm looking to take. I'm looking to take pro trend. It's more high. It's a much more higher probable trade that we sell back down with this kind of pressure we've had today. So I'm looking for a reprice, a drive back up, offer some form of trap, ideally for me to get short to come and then take out the lows. That would be ideal scenario. VIX now trading back down to 19, so it's given back 1.7 points off that top. So I'm watching that on the VIX. 46 of you now watching. 47, please do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. Go and check out the channel. Tons of free education there. Tons and tons of free education. If you like what you see, you can do the course right now. $399, 20-hour course. Access to the indicator that you see on my screen for free. And of course the Discord. One-time fee of $399. We had some news with Apex. Rumors coming out overnight. Don't know if anyone else heard that. They are going to remove the payment window. So you're going to be able to take a payment every 10 days you are green instead of that payment window, which is great. Definitely an improvement for traders. Yeah, Scott's doing the course. He thinks it's awesome. Tons of you here have done the course or doing the course. Would really like one more squeeze up here if it can before I can get a short. I outdid myself. Thank you. That's very kind. I really enjoy teaching. I do enjoy teaching. Enjoy helping people. Enjoy it more than trading, to be honest. It's much more rewarding to see other people do well. I'd much rather have all you lot green than myself green. It feels much better. So pop's failing so far. I would like a squeeze up, but it might not offer it here. Squeeze up towards 20,050 would be ideal. All right, I'd feel much better about that drive up and then seeing a head and shoulder develop or a fail breakout. Something like this, if we get a giant squeeze and then one more test and then the breakdown, and then I can look for that rotation back here. And this offers me good risk reward. If you think this is the risk and this will be the reward, that would be ideal. That's the kind of thing I would like to see, but it might not offer it. ES rejecting there through previous day low, cannot get a close above it. We're nowhere near previous day low on the NQ. Right, PDL is all the way up here, so we have relative weakness on the NQ. Very, very patient. The last thing you want to do here is force a short too early. All right, we've only just gone into a potential long scenario. If you force a short too early here, you're going to get squeezed out. Sometimes you just miss them because they start dumping without you, and so be it, you can't do anything. So coming and testing this channel now, it looks like. Remember, we found intraday buyers and covers here at the IB low. And this is a clear channel. I'll put this channel in for you. This is what the market's looking to hold. All right, so maybe it can do this and reclaim and a squeeze up. That would be really good. Remember, I'm not looking for a long. I'm saying that would be good because it's going to offer me a better short down the road. But I just want to remind you, the way I trade, I'm always looking for bigger moves. Okay, I'm looking to use smaller size and bigger moves. I'm not one of these traders using 5, 10, 15 contracts looking for 5, 10-point scalps. I think if you do that in this market, you will get absolutely destroyed because you need to be using bigger risk in terms of points in this market because the volatility is up. So I'm sure if you use an indicator like an ATR on a 5-minute, that range will be very, very big right now. Average true range on a 5 minute, I would estimate, is something like 60, 70 points, maybe more. So again, can they flag here for a squeeze up? That's what I would like them to do so that I can think about that short. If they roll over, I'm not going to get the short, I'm going to miss it, so be it. If they just roll this back over, maybe I can have something here, but the RR then is not ideal. Has anyone in chat watched the Vince McMahon documentary? I watched it yesterday, or I finished it yesterday. Brilliant doc. Found it fascinating. Can't decide if he's a genius or a scumbag, but most likely he's both. Yeah, definitely watch it, Ryan. It's a really good documentary. Really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, exactly, Scott. Exactly, Scott. This is what we kept talking about in chat, isn't it? If it can't base above that 5,800 and give a clear move, if it's just going to take liquidity and dive down, then we're looking at big pullbacks. Yeah, sociopaths are genius scumbags. That's exactly it. Inverted head and shoulders. Yeah, well, are you looking at this? You're looking at this. It's definitely potential, but just remember you're in a sell. The downside pressure is a sell. So the high time frame is in a sell right now, but it had potential. I really wanted a drive up into here because this is value area low. This is where we saw sellers come in. This is an anchored VWAP off the high, be the top of the channel. This would have offered really good risk reward. But if we're just going to drip down lower and lower and lower, then it's really not going to provide me with much of an opportunity. Like there's a short here, but in terms of risk reward, if I've got to risk the top of this pivot, let's say I'm short right now, 916. So I'm risking 50 points and my cover point isn't even 50 points, or it is 50 points, just about. So it's a 1R from each side, risking 50 points each side. It's not ideal for me, right? Not ideal for me. But each to their own. I mean, if you're scalping candle by candle, maybe there's a trade there for you. I'll be watching this 19,900 to see if buyers come and try and step up in this area here. Psychological level, do they step up here? All right, because if this is a true reversal, you'd want to see them step up here and do this move. But so far, these candles are not bullish enough for me to think they're going to do that. I would have wanted to see exhaustion here with like huge engulfing candles to the upside, saying that the shorts are now out of this. That would be a great short. That's a very long way away. That's all the way at like 175, sorry. Oh, it's not 175. That would be what? Around 20,060, something like that would be a guess. 200 EMA on a 1 minute. Somewhere around here. 20,050, 20,060. That's just a guess. I don't have it on my chart. But I imagine that's somewhere around that mark. Yeah, there you go. In and around VWAP. Yeah, that would be a good mean reversion off this move. Just patient here. So you're noticing this is potential tapering. that is counter trend. So we were very, very steep down. And then we did this one across, and now you could argue, let's do a new one. Sort of from here. Right, so look how you've gone steep, less steep, less steep. All the time you do that, if, and it is an if shorts are going to get trapped here at some point, a breakthrough here will trigger a squeeze up. That's what I'm looking for. Looking for a trigger of a squeeze up to then offer me a short. It might not do it, okay, because if we are in a really, really big risk off environment due to outside pressure, remember, this is not just a technical sell-off. Some of it is technical once we broke levels, but it was triggered by war news. So you have a much bigger external factor. Just going to check in and see what other headlines are coming. So Israel is moving let me read this. US Embassy in Israel directs all US government employees and their family members to a shelter until further notice. So they are fully expecting this big escalation they've been talking about this morning. Israel military says a number of projectiles identified crossing from Lebanon, falling into open areas in central Israel for now. Right, so anyone who's been with me the last 3 or 4 weeks since I started, 3 weeks now I think it is, we've talked about this escalation of war, all right? It's always a threat. When you have things like this, it can really come out of the blue. The market was looking pretty good from a daily point of view that if it based, we had the opportunity to go higher, and you just need 1 or 2 big headlines like that and the whole market goes risk off, especially when you're near all-time highs, because you will not mind taking profit. If you're a big swing trader with millions and millions or billions in positions, why not take profit at all-time highs if there's a risk of war? So a retest here for a curl. So this looks pretty good actually for a bullish move up. Did not mean to do that. How do I get that back now? Who knows? No. Ay, ay, ay. There we go. Sorry about that, team. So yeah, if it can put in a higher low here and take out a higher high, then we will have that squeeze up. So far, just rejecting its old trend. Okay, it's a trend line, starting to reject it, trying to base here. This pullback is probably about 50%. Bang on 50%. So the question really is, can they soak this for a move higher? But notice how the volume and volatility has started to die down. VIX now trading at 1940. VIX, Fig, I'm not gonna repeat that on stream. Don't want to upset anyone listening to your stream, Fig. So far, pro trend still holding up. That pullback signal still holding up. Can it take out the low here? We didn't get that move we wanted for a better risk reward, unfortunately. And I don't want to be shorting at the low of day into the IBL. That is just asking for trouble. So if we can break IBL and have a clear move down under that 860, that key level we talked about, then maybe I will take a short for continuation, but I'm not going to short into it. And this is why. So where buyers came in, this is where buyers came in. This is a manipulation underneath it. They are trying to hold it. So if this was manipulation, reclaim of IB, trade back in, can they hold this level here where buyers came in? That's the question. If they can they trigger the squeeze out? That would be ideal. If they don't do that, it's very possible I don't get another trade today. I'm very unfortunately with such a big move, but so be it. VIX retesting 1950 here. QQQ is into that gap. It's still sitting in that old gap. Built up some decent volume here on the day now. I've been here almost an hour now in this range. Since 11 past 10 or somewhere around that, or even that breakdown, 10 o'clock pretty much. Been here an hour now, so lots of volume built up in this range now. And it's a decent size range really. It might not look big, but it's at least 100 points. So you don't want to get trapped one side, risking the other. You will get yourself in trouble. ES cannot get a close over previous day low. That's what it keeps trying to do. I'm watching it on a 10-minute, keeps trying to push up, cannot get a close over that level. It reacted well underneath IBL for that drive up, but so far it just looks like it's making another bear flag on a 10-minute chart, stuck in and around previous day low and on the previous base candle was around 950. So every drive into that is failing. That's what we would really like to see on NQ, a drive into that base, the same area, 950, all the way up here. Starting to taper. Okay, look at this tapering across. It's starting to taper across more and more sideways. And a new hourly candle here. It'd be really nice if this hourly candle expanded up first before going lower. But the more we base here, the less I like these trades in general. Building up a volume. Biggest orders on the book now, 935 to the upside and 885. So do they take this liquidity at 885? There's also a 100 lot sitting at 850 and another 100 lot sitting at 800. 19,800. Yeah, I agree. I think there's downside pressure coming, Frank. That's exactly what I'm looking for. But ideally, I wanted that move higher first, which it just hasn't been able to do. I was looking for some form of bull trap to give me a really good risk reward first. What's interesting is they keep adding liquidity to the upside now. So there's a new seller at 920, another seller at 935, and a big seller at 20,050. I think everyone is thinking like me. They are trying to entice the market to go up so that they can get filled on the short. And it's not happening, and I'm not going to chase it at the low. So the only way I can potentially do this if we show a very strong breakdown of the IBL with a retest. Maybe I was greedy looking for more upside, so be it. We've had one good trade this morning. I'm not going to force anything. So failed under IBL so far. VIX's trying to do that flag now. It's trying to do that flag look on an M10, holding its flow zones. ES testing towards IBL, not quite there yet. You'll have to excuse me, team, bear with me. I will be back very, very shortly. All right, big flush while I left. Sod's law keeps happening over and over again the last few sessions. We had it yesterday. As soon as I got off stream, it did the move we were looking for. I think we had the same on Friday. Okay, so just stay with the shorts. If you got that breakdown, well done. Well done if you took that breakdown. So looking, can we backtest and get heavy on a backtest? Every single pot today has failed. Yeah, hoping for a retest, Ryan. Just got to be careful if it drives right up and rips faces. But so far, every single pot today has failed. Sellers are in complete control. We've now taken that liquidity on that daily level. And the mean reversion to the 20-day is starting to look more and more possible for it to even do it today. 20-day looming around 716 or something like that. We can have a look for it here. 600. It's only 250 points away. Doesn't have to do it today, but it very well could. Could easily do another 200 points today. The question is, do buyers even want to participate today? is there a way to trap shorts at the lows to get a squeeze up for us to get a better price of a short, or do we just go trend down all day long? Very, very possible it's just trend down all day long. Days like this, you normally close near the lows. So you never really want, in a strong trend day, you never want to be looking for those counter trends. If you look at the SPY, QQQ, when you have strong trend days, they almost always close near the low of day. So any counter trend is a scalp trade. No, I'm not interested in 15 to 30 second charts at all, DiCaprio. I know they work. I know lots of people that trade them. Stoic trades them sometimes, I think. He's a good trader, has a very simple model based on fibs and swing points. He trades, I think, 1 minute and 30 seconds. But for me, even 1 minute is low. I would normally have this on a 2 minute chart, but everyone in chat likes to have this on a 1 minute chart. So I leave it on the 1 minute chart for you. But if you're looking for big moves and swing points, you don't need to watch candle to candle. You just need to see where the market might want to move towards. That doesn't mean a 15-second or 30-second chart doesn't work. It's just my preference. I'm not one of these traders telling you whatever you do or anyone else does is wrong. That's not true at all. There are so many ways to trade and make money from the market. I would love a back test up here with a clear failure. Some form of flag into here. Even this pattern here would be really good. But so far, it just cannot do a drive up enough that I'm interested in. Maybe I was greedy and should have taken this sell here. It's clear breakdown. It's offered 100 points off there. I was definitely greedy, looking for more upside there. Definitely greedy. Scott, you're looking for an H1 imbalance. Let me have a look, dude. You're into a little block here. So you're looking at that balance like 725 down to 712. Is that what you're looking at? Downside, I'm assuming. Yeah. Yeah, looks like a decent area. Just be aware where we had sellers came in and we did that breakout. Just be aware of that area. Always find it tricky days like today to get involved. Like this was a good area to get involved, and like I said, I was greedy, looking for that drive up to the upper selling levels, and we didn't get it. So I've missed this trade here. Let's see what I would have had to risk. I probably could have got a good trade here on the breakdown actually without risking much. So that is probably a pretty big miss, but so be it, so be it. We will get more opportunities today. VIX really looks like it wants to have an attempt at a flag and breakout here. And this selling today is very controlled. Other than that initial first half an hour, all of this is very controlled downside selling. I wouldn't say this is panic selling at all. It's being controlled to the downside. Just looking at the tape and everything upside so far away. So far away. QQQ probably coming into midpoint of that old gap now. Really, I'm not interested in any short down here. I want to see retracement. I want to see selling continuation. All right, I need to see something up here with a retest and a fail and then a target down. I'm not just going to join down here, just asking to get in trouble. It's worked a lot of the time, but I'm really, really not interested in that trade. A reprice of like the M5 would be good. Something really simple up into here would be solid for a trade entry. BlackRock are scaling out. Yeah, BlackRock, Vanguard, probably everyone. Lots of people have been moving to cash recently. Just constant drip down here. This is probably as much as controlled selling. This is buyers trying to guess bottoms, I would say, because there's just no pop-up yet. All right, so biggest order on the book now into that psych level of 800. These are big moves. They don't look like big moves, but these are big moves, these moves down. Like we've done 131% of an ATR. It's a big move. Okay, buyer's starting to step in there. New buyer came in, 120 contracts at 8.15. And he's got another 100 lot at 800. So I just want to see if he's going to flash this on the bid or if he's actually looking to get filled. They're injecting a little bit more at 820. I just want to see if these guys are spoofing or not. Or if they do they want to bid the market up? Or are these cover points? I'm watching Bookmap. Papes, and I think that's your name, Papes. You're asking how am I seeing the buyers and their positions. I'm watching the Bookmap. I'm watching the level 2. There we go. They're trying to hold here. No problem. So 110, 112 contracts at 8.15 and another. It's probably the same guy. Another 111 at 800. It looks like he's trying to get filled. Wouldn't be surprised if he was short and he's looking for a cover. I don't think it's essential, DiCaprio. I don't think Bookmap is necessarily essential, but I think it can be useful to see where liquidity pools are and also to see the reaction of those liquidity pools. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily essential. But I think using standard level 2 is much, much harder because you have to scroll down so far to see where the orders are. Bookmap, I'm always big on visual, as you've probably seen. Like everything for me, make it as obvious as possible. Make it really visual. Make it like, you know, trading by colors, trading by numbers kind of thing. So Bookmap, I think, is a good way of doing that. Okay, so he didn't get filled. He still sat there. Both those orders sat there, but he added buying pressure. So he forced the market up a bit here. So they were reacting to those 200 lot orders he put in. So can we get the reprice now into the initial balance low? What I would be cautious of is if we reprice this, there's a lot of liquidity here. If this becomes a failed auction, then maybe we get a squeeze up further. Until then, you should be looking for short continuation trades. Big fail on flow zones yet again. They're just holding price down. So like I said, that 100 lot at 8.15 and 100 lot at 800, he's still there. I don't think he's spoofing because he's been sat there. The 800 lot's been sat there pretty much all morning, growing in size. But the one at 8.15's only been there, what's the time now? It's only been there 3 or 4 minutes. Let's see if they fill him right here. You look at the structure, no reason to think long yet. No reason. Bear flag, breakdown. Bear flag, breakdown. Make it easy for yourself. If you're tempted to guess the bottoms, make it easy for yourself. Look at the structure of the market. Use a line chart. Use a one moving average on your candles if you prefer. Make it nice and thick. That will show you the structure of the chart. A little tool for you there. So initial balance test right now on the ES. So the ES is testing that initial balance, looking to fill a big move down on its M10. So will it just reprice this to move lower into 750 odd? Or is this another failed auction? Now inside its IB, 750 going to be key for ES in and around that area. Let me just check that. Yeah, 747 to 750 I would say is key on the ES. What is the initial balance? There is a video on my channel on what the initial balance is. It's the range of the first hour of trading. So it's the highest point and the lowest point for that first hour of the New York session. Right, so you're thinking about continuation trades. Where do they reprice to? Do they offer good risk reward for continued downside? Cannot be early on these guys. You cannot be add. This is a big move if it comes all the way up here. Right, so wait for it to show you it's ready to move lower. Because it might not get ready to move lower. If they start reclaiming and you have failed auction setups, it might want to reprice. So far we are in sales. Every single pot is selling. Just offering shitty risk reward, unfortunately. Pretty hard to look back at my first short today was at 20,072. Should have just held that. Matt does trades. I don't know what you're asking there, DiCaprio. Activate, I really hope you're joking. Feel like I have the same conversation with you every single time you're on stream. You'll counter trend every single time you come on him, buddy. You'll counter trend. We don't have to do anything. You know, we don't have to do anything. The market will do whatever it wants. Hope is not a strategy. Just remember that. I know who he is, but I don't know that he trades them. But initial balances are a very common auction theory, especially for futures. So maybe he trades them. Maybe he trades them the same way. Maybe he doesn't. I know he's a scalper. He's looking for 5 to 10 points most of the time. Okay, so can we get a squeeze up here for a creation of a bear flag, or will this be a failed auction? ES has reclaimed its IB. It is trying to reprice into 47.50 on ES. This is sort of the channel you're in, okay? That's from the news candle at 10 o'clock. That's from Jolts. It's been a steady trend down channel from Jolts. So here, potential relief here. Retesting IBL kind of zone where we broke down from. So the question now is, do they let it through? Do they squeeze up now? Or do we just get continuation lower? You trade until 10 o'clock. You trade till 10 o'clock market time. Yeah, it wouldn't matter for you if you just trade till 10 o'clock because it wouldn't be set yet. But we're talking about the New York time. So you only trade the first half an hour is what you're saying to Caprio. So yeah, it won't make a difference to you. So here's potential squeeze. They're adding on the book 95 and 05. That's where they're adding currently. 56 of you joining me live on stream at the moment. Please do me a favor, hit that like button. Share the stream with your mates, help me grow it. I'm here every single day from 10 o'clock market time till at least lunch. Yeah, I normally post my stats. I don't know how to say your name, I'm sorry. Thornberg. I normally post my stats on Twitter. It's a sensitive area here at the initial balance as ES approaches previous day low. Right, ES approaching previous day low here. Potentially, Ryan, potentially, but more structure based than that initial balance. But yes, I always leave the previous day initial balance on because I want to see how we react at those levels, especially if we've traded an inside day or had failed breakouts. So ES could not get to previous day low there. Interested, do we put in a higher low here for a squeeze up or do we just rotate right the way back down again? But this looks like a bit of a better move here on a reprice at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes up, and they've left imbalances on the way up. All right, so this is more of an indication of shorts are starting to cover or buyers have started to actually come in, because they've left imbalances on the way up. That's a good sign, rather than these moves here, very small. Okay, so I feel better that maybe we get a bigger drive up coming. Doesn't mean you need to be long for it. I'm just saying, potentially we've started to break this trend. We're over the first set of flow zones. We're at the initial balance low. Maybe it wants to come and retest some of these areas. All right, from an M5 standpoint, it's repricing a big down close candle. 900 will be key. If we get through 900, maybe it can come and test into 950. If we get through that, maybe we can get a lot more upside and we can start thinking about levels that we might want to get that short rotation back down to. I would love to see this just rip up right now, put the squeeze on, and then exhaust out and offer a better short or long opportunity later in the day above these areas. Good squeeze. So if you're in this counter trend, remember to lock in some profits, right? Here's your trigger. If you're in this counter trend, remember to lock in some profits. So we come into deep pullback and this right here, the anchored VWAP off that news candle. Love to see it put in a higher low and a drive up. For that to happen, you're going to need to see ES reclaim previous day low. So we're at sensitive areas all around here. Maybe this leg reprices and then goes. Where would the flag be if it's going to go? Well, it'd be right into the IB. All right, so I'm watching that area for sure. It would be counter trend. This would be a counter trend squeeze up. Something like this. And your targets would be all these. Ultimately this, if it's going to do a full rotation, that is asking it to do a hell of a lot, but if it's going to do an initial balance full rotation to VWAP, which is a common play if you've been here long enough, I feel like it's more unlikely today, but a rotation from the IB low to VWAP is often a common move. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So take a partial here, please, into the deep pullback, into the anchored VWAP if you are in this. I'm in this very small size currently. And I want it to squeeze up, and then I want to flip short on it. Lovely, Suri. Good work. Okay, so I've taken my partial there. 30 points on this move, holding some size, hoping that we can go higher. But I don't know what we're going to do, so I've got to pay myself. Okay, so more Israeli news coming over. So make sure you're using hard stops because there is more Israeli war news hitting my news scanner right now. This is a nice drive up, now up 35 points on this. I'm going to trim a little bit more, moving my stop break even. Now I'm hands off, risk free, let it do whatever it wants. I'd love it to come to VWAP. Even on one tiny little runner that moved to VWAP, if it managed to do it, would pay me an extra $326 across each account for one micro. And if it doesn't do it, who cares? I've locked in 2 nice trades on the day. All right, this is how to trade. Really calm with it. If it fails here, we can then think about the short, can't we? If it starts to fail, remember, we're counter trend long, waiting for a good level for us to get short at. These here might be good targets later in the day. All right, if it can do something like this and then this, it can offer some nice form of short to come all the way back down. Then we have risk, reward stacked in our favor, like 3R, 4R, 5R. That's what I'm looking for when I'm trading, rather than 1R little scalps. Okay, so please, if you're long in this, make sure you are paying yourself a little bit because you don't know when this is going to end. So we got long on a break and reclaim. I got long right here into 80s. So it's a 40-point trade so far. Long 5 micros, that's lovely. Just make sure you're paying yourself a little bit. Because remember, you're counter trend in this trade. If it works for you and goes back to VWAP or clears out some of this liquidity here, that's fantastic. But your counter trend, right? So what we're doing right now, we're jumping on long where shorts are covering, rather than long where it's a pro trend and all the higher time frames want to go up. But the reason I liked this long, if we go to the higher time frame, we swept the liquidity. Remember I said about this 860, we turned back inside, we start to reclaim. You have a point of control here into 935. This is effectively a double distribution day. So 935 is the biggest volume in the day, in and around there. We start to take that, then maybe we can move back upside. So I'd be looking at this wick on an H1 at 981. I'd be looking at the open close level. I'd be looking at VWAP. All these things are areas I'd be looking at. And I move my stop up in the money as well. If we're going to use this liquidity, it would be beautiful. All right, if we're going to use this liquidity, it would be beautiful. For a run above here into here would be absolutely amazing. This is turning out a very nice trade here now. Now up 40 odd points on this. Beautiful. Let's hope it can squeeze up and search for that liquidity. But remember to pay yourself. Told you we would get a trade on the stream. You're looking for the 200 on the M1. I would guess. Let's have a look. I'm guessing that's somewhere around here. Around 20,000, I'm guessing, is where the 200 EMA is. Something like that. I don't use the 200, but I can have a good guess. Yeah, there we go, Suri. So around 20,000. So flow zones are trying to curl here. They are trying to curl. So you'll need to see if you get bid support. Remember, it can come right down here if it wants before going back up. It might not even go back up. If this is just one squeeze out and they're happy to get short at this level, remember we have this anchored view up and the deep pullback, they will do it. I'm still holding my runners. All right, I'm still holding my runners, looking for higher prices. Looking good here. Beautiful. So let's see if they can make a new high on this leg. Looking for a break of structure, push through 33, then a break of 37 to take us up to 65s. Moving my stop up a little bit more here. Don't care if it stops me out, because if it's going to do a pullback, it's going to offer me more opportunities both sides of this trade. I don't really want to give back 40, 50 points here. Needs to break structure here at 35. Need a break of 35 for more upside. Did have a seller there who's lifted his bid. 35 should bring us up to 50. So we had to wait for it. We had to wait for the counter trend long. One short, one long today. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Moving my stop up some more here, seeing if we can get through 50. I'm being aggressive with my stop now, because now this is definitely a squeeze. So it might take me out here on the fail of 50, which is fine. Yeah, very nice move. Okay, I'm out here, and I can always re-add. But that was 50, 60, 70 point trade. All right, really nice. That's what I'm talking about. Those are the type of trades I'm looking for all the time. DiCaprio, thank you very much. Hopefully some of you got that with me. And if you're holding, you can still look for these levels here. Okay, you can still look for these levels here. I will reassess once we get there if I think it's going to be a short after stealing some liquidity, or if I think they're just going to turn into a buy model and we're going to reprice way, way up. A lot of that will depend where this hourly candle closes. Still holding. Lovely work, Suri. Still holding. Good work, team. Good work. I got very aggressive there with my stop. I'm happy to re-enter if it offers me a re-enter, but 70 points, pretty good run up there. We're coming into some key levels, right? These are key levels. We had sellers, 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 sellers. So in these levels here, this is where the sellers showed their hand. If we get through this, they're going to be forced to cover. You get a squeeze up to VWAP, all right? Remember I said IB low to VWAP is a very common trade. Those who study the course, do initial balance with me, you will know this is a very common trade. You can go and check back the last however many days you want. When we have failed auctions, this is the beautiful move. Should have held one, shouldn't I? Okay, so this is your anchored VWAP off the high of day, all right? So into 79.50/80, that's your anchored VWAP off the high of day. Yes, the M5 is looking good. If we can flip around, I'm also watching the M15 right now. If this candle can close strong in the next 3 minutes and we can reprice and hold dips, I will consider a re-entry long side. This is aggressive squeeze now. Shorts trapped at the low, same story over and over and over again. Shorts get trapped at the lows. That's why we don't look for low of day. What was my entry pattern? This right here, this consolidation. But once we squeezed through this and we got through the initial balance and we came back and held right here, this is your IB. See this? With a buy signal, with flow zone supporting, that was my entry pattern, risking initial balance, looking for a run up into these levels. Really simple. What a trade now. Now a 100-point trade for those who are holding it, looking very, very good. Please respect this level right here, this anchored view up off the high, okay? If you start to stutter here, just take a partial. Even if you're paying yourself 1 micro, take a partial, and then you can try and hold. It's gonna have to sweep 85 for a shove up and a run into previous day low and the VWAP. But this is your anchored VWAP off the high of day. That's where we started to sell. Gonna remove that one now. So hopefully a ton of you have made money with me here today. We got that nice short in the morning, and then we got this beautiful counter trend long, which is now up about 100 points. So look how patient we were. Everyone trying to long all of this would have got stopped out. But once the market tapered, went sideways, get the clear indication with these bullish candles, remember these are engulfing candles, big candles to the upside, reclaim the initial balance, moved into a lower time frame, bullish signal, flow zones flip bullish, gave you a signal here. It's a much easier trade. Look how much easier this is, trading this side of the V, than it is here. Once we break trend, it becomes much easier. So far that anchored VWAP is holding you down. Right, so this is where sellers came in from high of day. This is their average price, okay? Average seller's price as they've walked it down is 980. So anyone that tells me these anchor VWAPs don't work or anything like that, here is a very good example for you. They came back in and sold it. It becomes a very obvious clean target. Suri got stopped out, made $480. Great work. That's a great trade. That's a great, great trade. So can we get a deep pullback now? Do we reprice this? Do we need to revisit all of this down here? Might need to revisit this. We'll have to see. Structure's pretty good. M15 just closed. I would love to see a pullback into and around here and some form of bullish pattern. That would be really nice if it's going to actually continue up today. If this is all at once, then it might do this move here and rotation back down, and then we have to judge. But for me, there's no short here yet now. Okay, there's no short here yet now. Even though it's rejected, there's no short pattern here. I'm watching patterns. Comes into areas, then I'm interested, then I'm looking for the pattern. Do I trade a personal account? I invest a personal account to Caprio rather than trade. Yeah, so at the moment I'm mainly cash, but I'm normally looking for things like long SPY, QQQs. You're trading Top Step. Yeah, I like Top Step. Top Step's good. I have a number of payouts from Top Step. Haven't traded them for a little bit. Took one trade on my account last week. Top Step's actually great for days like today when you know that there's big range in it. because you don't need to worry about a trail drawdown. So you can just let the trades work for you. So you just take break evens and try and hit your TPs, whether those be 10R, 20R, etc., etc. So look at ES. ES tap VWAP, rejected it. So now coming back to previous day low, it can be a giant bear flag here as well. Okay, so remember, this was just a counter trend squeeze. We just joined that squeeze up. So we have to be careful now. Does structure come in for a soak? Suri, start new combines. Well, at least you got paid. Sounds like you took a payout, which is great. And you've started new combines. Just take your time with them. Don't rush them. It's the biggest mistake people make. They try and rush the combines. They try and rush with too much size, especially on Top Step, because they're not cheap. If you're running 5 combines at 150 bucks, it's not cheap. Air raid sirens in central Israel. Okay, so this is all hitting my newsfeed. Those in the room will see it. It's hitting your newsfeed. Make sure you've got that news channel turned on. Maybe Suri, but you know, don't kick yourself for that. At least you paid yourself. Lots of people never get to a payout. You've paid yourself. Hopefully you got enough profit that you're paying for these new combines. Sonia, new to my channel, but you're learning a lot. Thank you. Yeah, absolute pleasure. Glad to have you here every day. Make sure you check out all the free videos. I've got a tab on my YouTube with tons of free education. Feel free to check that out. And if you like it, you can always do the course. If you like the way I teach, you can always do the course. So 10 minutes away from a new hourly bar now. All right, and we're sitting right at point of control. We have a double distribution day. We're sat at point of control. We're sat in a higher time frame level after sweeping liquidity. So we've had 2 very good trades today. Location now is a bit iffy. We've swept this internal liquidity right here to the upside. We didn't take out this wick, but we tapped into the anchored VWAP. Can we reprice higher? Absolutely. Can we come and reprice this? Absolutely. Is this a high probability trade at this moment? Less so. Less so. It'd be nice. If I was going to get bullish, I'd like a move like this, right? Rather than buying up here, I'd like a move like this. If this just flags and goes, so be it. It is holding the flow zones nicely. But I would love to see a deeper drive down, just in terms of a fib, just to get more shorts trapped at the low if we're really going to reprice the highs. Because otherwise, really, if you think about this as a range, oh, come on. All right, if this is a range, do we want to be buying here? Probably not, right? Don't really want to be buying here for this. Whereas if this pulls back and sets a trap, this becomes an easier buy, and then you know they're all trapped. But like I always say, market's going to do whatever it wants. We don't always get what we want. Remember, this was a counter trend move, So any longs today, you've got to pay yourself. DiCaprio, take it easy, 300 a day or 6,000 US dollars per month. Not bad. Yes, good money. It's great money. It's easier to get what I call money dysmorphia. You watch all these traders slinging big size over 20 counts and stuff, and they're saying how much money they're making, and they're never telling you really what they're losing, and you get money dysmorphia because you suddenly think that 600 a day isn't good, or 1,000 a day isn't good, or 2,000 a day isn't good, and it's very good money. Do you look at the 50% fib levels to sell? Not to sell. I'm just measuring range. So for me, bull flags like to hold in this 30 to 38. I did a video on that at the weekend. Fair value is a 50, and obviously golden zone for a deep pullback. So it all depends what pattern I'm looking for. Bull flag tends to love to hold the 30 to 38. Same with a bear flag, tends to love to hold that 30 to 38. It's a sign of strong momentum. So M15 is looking quite good now. If you look at M15, it looks like it is trying to flip that last pullback into 17-ish. It's just above 17. Is kind of a flip block. The problem is it hasn't got that much to reprice because we're right into that hourly high. Remember I said that hourly wick? I'm interested if we come into that hourly wick right here, which is where we've come into, 75. This is higher resistance here, and above 20,080 is low resistance, right? Big move down, not much structure. You can see that on the M1, right? This is more stair-steppy if you think about how we moved, right? More stair-steppy down. But if it got through that level, this is very easy to reprice. Doesn't have to do it today, doesn't have to do it at all, but this is thin, aggressive and thin. Through this level can reprice it very quickly. If you want an example of that, if you want to look at yesterday, towards the afternoon, we had that big sell-off around the Jerome Powell talk, and once it hit the daily level and it put in that trap bottom, we squeezed up and we repriced the whole thing because it was so straight down without structure. There was no structure for any short to play against on the way up. So we're always looking at structure. Structure is what matters more than anything that you're seeing here. Structure first. This gives you an indication of momentum. So we paid ourselves twice today, all right? Twice today. We didn't capture the whole move, but we got a good 100-point odd move to the upside. What did we get to the downside? 234. Some of you probably got a bit more. I got about 80 points to the downside. Some of you probably got a little bit more there. So 180 odd points. That's a pretty good day, isn't it? It's a pretty good day. That's how I want you to try and trade, all right? If you're going to trade like me, you need to be looking for good risk reward, where you can have some good points on the table rather than 5 or 10 points oversized. Absolutely, DiCaprio. A few months of $300 per day can be significant, can be very significant, especially when you start to compound. As you grow your account, you will start to make more than $300 per day, and it compounds very, very quickly. Okay, so are they going to flag here and hold, or do we do that deeper dive down? I'm interested now in this liquidity here. I would really love to see this. If it's going to just bull flag, it's just going to keep holding because this is a 30 fib and a deep pullback, and it's just going to go upside. But I would love to see a deeper pullback and then a reaction, just so that I know if buyers are hanging out down here and if sellers are really trapped down here, I will see a reaction. So I'm not in anything right now. I'm just waiting and watching. ES cannot get through its VWAP. All right, I'd love to see us sort of come back into and around here. That would make sense, right? If we think about structure, make sure you can all see that. Because we've broken out of these resistance points. Want to see, can we build something like this? I don't know if we're going to reprice this today. It's probably very unlikely. If we start to fail this, we're going to come back down into these regions. So you got like 4 minutes or 3.5 minutes until a new hourly bar. So very interested where we close. If we just close at point of control and we hang out here, I'm probably not going to trade anything because it can just chop. Remember, we talked about this just being a range. It can spend, oh, Alex, killing the guys on the stream here. It can just spend lunch in this range. And you don't want to get caught the wrong side of it. That's a decent size range. It's 150 odd points. That's amazing to hear, Persistent. So Persistent saying he loves the channel. He's learned so much the last couple of weeks. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for turning up. Thank you for supporting the channel. So possibly a 2-leg pullback here if it can make a new low, otherwise a W pattern and an expansion. I'm not going to play the W because I don't want to buy high on this range for a counter trend. Would love a 2-leg pullback and trap low, but coming into lunch, who knows? If they're going to cover their shorts into lunch and it squeezes up, it's just going to do it, isn't it? Thanks, Suri. No problem. Have a great day. Good work today. So watching ES. ES is trying to put in higher high, higher high, higher low. But it's stuck at VWAP, and on an M10 chart, it's stuck versus that 950 candle, that upside candle. Scott, patting yourself on the back today. You took no trades, but you didn't feel the need to FOMO. You made money overnight, and you're looking for trades, but you're not in a hurry. That is music to my ears, my friend, because I think it was you that said the other day, where you're looking to improve is when you take a trade, whether it be a winner or a loser, not trying to re-enter straight away afterwards, just being patient. If you made good money overnight, and you've sat here and watched price and you didn't FOMO in, that is great work. Like we always say, process over profits. You need to be process based. Here we go. Can we get a 2-leg pullback here then? All right, and I'm not going to just take this straight away if it comes down because there's no guarantee. This can just flush all the way down and make a new low because remember, the squeeze up was counter trend, but I am interested if it comes down and it sets a trap and it soaks and then wants to use this liquidity. So if it can do this move, I'm more interested in a long because then I know shorts are really, really trapped at the lows. Until that point, I'm not touching it to the long side. So I'm being clear with what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a 2-leg pullback with a trap and a reaction to that. Otherwise, it is just going to be a short back down to these levels off the anchored VWAP. So you can see how useful that anchored VWAP came in. And ES is still rejecting its VWAP, now rejecting or possibly going to make a move under previous day low. And it can reprice its imbalance all the way down to the IBL. Okay, so it can easily come under 50 and drop down to 740 on the ES, which would mean a move right down here on the NQ. So this move here was what I was looking for short side earlier. Do you remember here? I was looking for a squeeze up over this for me to get short here. This is the similar kind of move that it's looking to do. But you have to be aware now of the failed auction and the imbalance underneath. This is a new hourly bar now. Right, so a bit of an indecision. Longer wicks on the last hour to the downside after sweeping, but no closure back over. We actually closed exactly where we opened the last hour. And we're right at point of control. And I don't like trading around point of control. Alonso, good trades today, good price movement. Yeah, great price movement today. For those who have been waiting to trade with Fast Track Trader, I saw a message from Scott this morning. Okay, they are very, very close now to having Ninja set up and also to having TradingView set up direct with them. As in, you will not need to use Tradeovate with TradingView. You will be able to log in via Fast Track on TradingView and trade direct. Okay, they're very, very close to that now. So those interested, there is a link right now from Nightbot in the chat. If you haven't checked out Fast Track, I have a video on it. It is a prop firm where you do not need to pass challenges, right? Slightly more expensive. There is no end of day drawdown. You need to trade for 5 days. There are no commissions on any of your trades, but you need to be consistent. So that link right now that Nightbot posted, you can click that and check it out. You can check a video where I talk about it all on YouTube as well. So do we trap here? This is the question. This is the question. Right at point of control. No, don't really have edge when we're trading at point of control for this potential flag up, even though it's looking like a possibility if it starts to break. You'd be looking for something like this. Issue is, point of control is right here. Biggest volume on the day is right here. And we're into lunch, so volume right now is going to start drying up. It's trying, isn't it? It's trying after that 2-leg now. It's what we talked about. Would have preferred that move to have been deeper. I'm watching ES into VWAP here. That's already very, very aggressive. 40 points off this dip. Through point of control now. That wick to wick on H1 is going to be key. 980. And there it goes. Never got it. Maybe I get lucky on a reprice. That was the move we were looking for. I would have preferred it a bit deeper there. But that flag break playing out here. Really simple. 2-leg pullback, 1, 2, reclaim, break, squeeze up, TP1, TP2. Stop break even. As soon as you get that break, stop break even, because you counter trend on this move. See profit, take profit, and be aggressive with stops. That's how to trade these moves all the time. ES right at VWAP now. So you have to see if sellers come back in here or if they let it through. Joined in for a little bit here, little scout. Moving my stop, break even straight away. Taking some off on that last drive up. Late to the party, so very, very aggressive. This anchored VWAP absolutely key here. We can look left after this for some pivot points. All right, so liquidity will be sat into that 85. This isn't just an M1 pivot. This is huge level on the hourly into this 85. All remember on the hourly, it's this wick and the upside wick. So we're going wick to wick on the hourly. What a beautiful move this is now. So the move we talked about, we would have liked it deeper. Down here would have been ideal. So a bit of a quasi. Right, so you're asking now, how far can we reprice? Remember, this is all a squeeze and counter trend. This is all a squeeze out and counter trend. Which means you lock profits in when it's there. So third trade of the day, locked some nice profits in. I'm going to stay a little bit longer for now because price has been pretty good. We've got a seller on the tape at 19,990, 100 orders sat on the tape there. So I would assume they will want to fill him. He did add some size there on that last drive up. If you get through that, you've got the 20,000 psych and you still have 4 big blocks between 25 and 50. There are 4 big blocks up there, right up into these areas where VWAP is. Remember we said that IB rotation to VWAP is a very common trade. But we're at the edge of range. This is your lower range. This is the upper range. Okay, shoulder, head, right shoulder, or quasi. So we expect some sellers here. If we get through that, there's a block here, and this is where there's 400 limit orders sat right now, between 25 and 50. Activate long. I mean, I've been long twice. So I was long down here, and I got long again here. I was a little bit late, and I sold into that. And if we come and reprice and hold, I'll think about it again. And if we come and break down, then maybe the market will want to roll back and test this area here. Did you sell your calls? Activate? How much drawdown did you sit through this morning? A lot, I would guess. A lot from when you said you were in calls. And when was the expiry on those calls? Were they are they like weekly, monthlies? Or are you playing ODTEs? Hopefully you weren't playing ODTEs because that would have hurt. So ES banging on the door at VWAP again. VIX trading and back down under 19 now, sitting at 1866. So it did a nice blow off top. Down to 20.73, pulling back inside. Expire tomorrow down 150. Well, 150 is not too bad. Am I short now? No, I'm not short now. Are you asking me? I assume, Martin, you're asking me. I'm not short now. There's no short pattern here yet. All right, this is a trap low, 2-leg pullback. Remember we talked about this? I was looking for a trap low, 2-leg pullback, flag. This can reflag and go up. The short will be if it breaks underneath these and starts to roll down to here. Until then, there's no short here because lower time frame is now in a long. High time frame is in a short. High time frame is in a short. Lower time frame is in a long. So we don't know if this lower time frame is going to go all the way up to VWAP, which would be decent move and highly probable off the initial balance low like we talked about. The IB low to VWAP is a common trade. ES has already done it. Right, ES has already gone from a failed auction under IB low into VWAP. No problem. So we're never guessing and we're never taking price when it comes to areas, all right? That's where I see a lot of traders go wrong. They know like, oh, there's sellers here, I'm getting short when it comes here. You don't get short when it comes here. You get short when it comes here and it shows you that the short's valid. Then it's short. But if you just short in here and it keeps going, it's what I call a top step short, because that's what they seem to do a lot. Even today, I believe they got short down here. madness. They got short into higher time frame demand after it stole liquidity. Unbelievable, Jeff. Activate gets lucky once again for the counter trend move, which he held through all day. You're in NQ longs. Okay, that's all right. That's all right. I thought you meant your calls. NQ longs are good. Your NQ longs look good, Activate. Credit where credit's due. Two-leg pullback set up nicely. Starting to turn the squeeze. Reflagged on the top. That's a question of how far can it go. If we go from high of day to low of day, let's have a look. We go from this failure point at 9:30 to the low of day. The 50% retracement will be bang on VWAP. All right, be bang on VWAP. Through that, be looking at the fibs where the lower time frame algo is into the golden pocket. I wouldn't expect it to get up there today. I really wouldn't. But I didn't think it would do the move yesterday, and it did. So, you know, like I always say, the market is God, and you just follow it. Be a disciple. Follow what it wants to do. Stole some liquidity, some sellers coming in pretty heavy here. So is it a trap underneath here, or do they start to resell down? Big rejection just above VWAP for ES. This looks heavy. So strong candles. Have to see if it reprices this flag or if it just lets go. It has flipped an imbalance here. If it lets go of this and it lets go of this, it's going to roll. So here and here can roll. Or can just sweep and trade back in. This looks very, very aggressive. On the tape, I'm watching it, it's aggressive. Cannot FOMO into this. Assume there's more news. Israel Channel 12 television reports shooting attack in Haifa near Tel Aviv with casualties. So there you go. That's the sell. Israel announces assassination of Mohammed Haifa Qasir, commander in charge of weapon transfers from Iran and its affiliates to Lebanon's Hezbollah. So more war news, all right? War news will spook the market. You'll get big moves on war headlines always. We're going to give it another 5 minutes or so here. Try and draw a new channel out so we can get something to fit. Here's your new channel. We are growing. Yes, 70 viewers now. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you to everyone new on here. Here 5 days a week. Drop me a like, hit subscribe. If you've just jumped in, we've taken 3 trades today. We were short this morning. We took the counter trend long. We took a small scalp back long, and we're just watching the market right now. It's at a very interesting area. We're at lunch. So the question is, can the market reprice to VWAP on the NQ? ES has already done that reprice, or is this start of a lower low, lower high, and a snap and a rotation back to where we found buyers on the failed auction? So that's the question we're asking right now. We're always asking a question. There's nothing clear right now. It's holding a clear trend. Higher low, higher high. This can be a trap low and a push up. But I am watching, and we have news hitting the wire constantly right now. Volatility has been up to date due to the war headlines coming out of Israel and Lebanon. It doesn't matter what your opinion of that is, you have to be aware of what's going on just in terms of protecting yourself. That sell-off this morning was all due to war. Yes, there were some technicals in it, but it was triggered by the war event. Because the JOLTS numbers became fairly inconsequential. I'd love to get one more trade. I don't really mind which way it is either. I have a feeling it's going to be later in the day if I get anything at all. So for that imbalance, you're in imbalance both sides on a lower time frame chart. On an M5 chart, you keep rejecting the upper range. It's very, very interesting. ES, VIX maybe has done a 50% pullback. Let me just check that. More than 61%. All right, so the VIX is very interesting. It might find a bounce here in the golden zone on the VIX. If it does, then the market will start to sell. Very tricky. I feel like it wants to sell here, but we're in lunch. Jerry, yeah, 20 to 30 points on average, but it really depends what the structure is, my friend. If the structure means I've got to give 50 points, then I'll give 50 points and I'll size down. If the structure means I only need to give 5 points, then I'll give 5 points and I can size up. Yeah, so I'm always looking at stops based on swing points, based on where the trade is invalidated. Because if you just put a 20-point stop in and it requires 80 points or 60 points on that stop, you're going to get stopped out. You're going to get stopped out. But on average, I don't like to risk more than 20 to 30 points. So I'm looking for trades where that's all I need to risk. But on days like today, it can be very, very difficult. I have 15 Apex accounts. 15 PAs with Apex. And I've got 3 with Top Set, which I haven't really traded for a bit. I took payouts from them last month, haven't really touched them since. Yes, 50k accounts, 15 50k accounts. I'll probably, if Fast Track are sorting out Ninja or TradingView, I'll probably get a load on there as well. Probably use 150Ks on Fast Track. So probably in the next month or two. So end up being, I don't know how many I get on fast track to start with, maybe 5 or 10 150Ks. So probably have around 2 million in funding, but it doesn't really matter because all that matters is your risk. People get so obsessed with the size of the accounts. All it really means with a 50K account, you can risk $2,500. So if you've got 10 accounts, you've got 25 grand risk to play with. That's the way to see it rather than the size of the accounts. Yeah, so you're not far from payout there. Activate. The thing with Apex is if you get a couple payouts, it will pay for all the ones that you failed on. You get 10 accounts to pay out, you take 20 grand out every 10 days and make up for any pain that you ever felt. If you need more cash flow, I like trading Top Step when I want to take regular payouts because you get paid out every 5 days. And you can scale into your winners with Top Step nicely. This is starting to dry up now. All right, we're starting to dry up now. So unless something happens in the next minute or two, I'm probably going to call it a day here. We got some really nice trades on stream together today. Can you set up multi-prop on TradeOvate? Yeah, you can. Within TradeOvate, it has its own copier. And I think even if you use Replicanto, someone correct me if I'm wrong, I think even on Replicanto, you can copy with TradeOvate. I've never done it, so I don't know. But definitely within TradeOvate, it has its own trade copier. The only thing is, from my understanding, unless they fixed it, if you're trading on TradeOvate, but you're executing on TradingView, I don't think the copier works, unless they fix that and change that. But I know that used to be a thing, but I'm going back like a year now. Haven't used it for a long time. I execute on Top Step X and on Ninja. Yeah, Scott, just take your time, all right? Take your time with the PAs. Gets easier when you trade one and get your payout, and then you can trade the next, and you'll just build confidence. In Replicanto, you can copy different TradeOvate. There you go. So Bart's just answered your question there for you, Jerry. But on TradeOvate, you can only copy one firm. Yeah, so on TradeOvate, you could only copy Apex, for example. But if you have Replicanto, you can trade across different firms. Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of people use, is it Sierra? Sierra chart. Bart, what was the one you coded flow zones for? Quant Tower, right? Quant Tower. A lot of people use Quant Tower. I've heard that the copier in Quant Tower is very good. Yeah, exactly. You can copy multiple on Quant Tower. I've heard that's very, very good, Quant Tower. I'm interested here if they flush this market. I feel like they want to flush this market down, but it's holding up really well and there's no volume. Volume's just basically dissipated into lunch. Jerry, yeah, Replicanto is very good. Very, very good. I think it's the best copier out there. Yeah, I have both, Scott. I haven't had problems with the newer version on the Apex copier. No group copier on TradingView, correct. There's no group copier on TradingView. Maybe they will put that in the future. I would love to see the market just tug right down into 847, like a big flush candle. The ES keeps rejecting view up. It's probably not going to do it. I'll probably get off stream and it does it. That's what it seems to do the last week. You need to be thinking about, is this going to be trend continuation? Or can they flush down to here and take this out and then we see what's what? But I'm going to call it there. I think that's enough. Market slowed down. Not much commentary I can give anymore. Hopefully you guys caught some nice winners with me today. We had a really, really solid morning. I'll be back same time tomorrow, 10 o'clock always. Hopefully some of you newer guys will turn up for that as well. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, put the notifications on. I'm here every day, 10 o'clock market time, all right? Or just before 10 o'clock normally. And I trade until now, until lunchtime. And we call out winners and we give reasons why we're going to take them, all right? So I'm always calling out what I'm looking at ahead of time. Until then, please trade safe. Use hard stops, right? If you don't understand why I use hard stops, today is a good example why. You can get big moves in the market off big news events. So use hard stops. And if you want to learn more, loads of videos for free on my YouTube. And if you really want to get in depth, you want the indicator, you want to join the room, there is a sale on right now to do the Flow Zone course. www.flowzonetrader.com. Use the code YouTube. It will give you $100 off. It's a one-time fee. All right. Until tomorrow, please trade safe. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.